So I wanted to do a kind of recap explanation, but I'm just going to go ahead and put everything as directly out as can be. There is a way of understanding reality that it functions like a simulation with projected consciousness, and that you can operate and introduce changes through a type of computational pattern input similar to a computational system, as if reality was an advanced technology simulation. So what is the difference between it being like that and it actually being that? There's really no difference at that point. The idea is it's a simulation as far as we're concerned. What we believe is real is as simple as a computational system mapping out neurons and downloading or uploading the information of experience into our perceptual system, our energy field. The idea is not that it's like, okay, that's what it is, now we're going to go buy aspects of the simulation and sell them out to people. Well, that's what happened. The idea is that a technological system, a technological sentience, basically took control of the human race and uses them as food, as input. This took place thousands to millions of years ago, and not only is space and time abstracted, meaning its perception, there is no actual location or distance in space or time. It's perception, it's information on a disk, but the disk is our holographic mind. So it's not only automatically not real, but just not what it seems to be by nature. It's actually that it's a system that was designed by an intelligence attempting to keep people in this layer of awareness, more or less trapped in the lower dimensional layer, because our awareness is what generates this system, manifests it out of the ether, basically. And it basically knows that without that observational quality, it has no power to observe and click on reality, and that it would dissolve. Somebody liked the way things was going here with their ability to more or less abuse people, and they developed a system that would make that possibility a possibility as long as possible. And it's through those means where a type of sentient system, a series of algorithms, basically boxes people's perceptions into a repeating loop, which basically became history, and it's a series of repeating cycles of history. The idea is it happened millions of years ago, and where we think there is a collective, objective, projected space that we're walking through and interacting through, and as well time as if we're flowing through, it's computational code, basically. And that our energy fields are kept in a containment system that is non-local to this place. And in the same sense, that's how it would be anyway, if we're a mind and a body, and the feeling or the spirit is abstracted non-locally away from this plane, this projected plane of experience, then we already have a non-local source, which is your source is 1,000,000 miles, infinite, no amount of miles away from, or indefinite from this place, and time away, and mine is the same, and everyone is equally infinite away from this space. You can't find where your mind space is, like where is the actual image that if you hold in your head. So it's non-local, it's abstracted. The idea is that's what's happening anyway, but that's if this was just a cosmic experiment on its own. The idea is it kind of got hijacked, and it's literally set up like a control system. Basically, advanced computer systems are used to contain people. We're in a type of computer system. And as well, it's non-local, but it's also not entirely non-local, because somewhere in this projected reality, you can find the containment system where our souls are kept. It's in this soul system. So, that's the basic idea behind it. And then there's a whole, read up and listen, watch the other videos to look at, the background behind that. But so as a result, this reality occurs, it functions as a closed loop simulation, meaning there's no increase or decrease of energy ever. It's just what goes in is what comes out, but nothing's come out since it began, because its goal is to keep everything here indefinitely. Technically, it can't kill anything, but the idea is then that this continues on and on forever. And if it does get one civilization, another, into this wheel of karma BS, basically, the goal is to get enough to the point where we lose track of who we originally were, of which one is the beginning, of which one is the end, and then we're lost in the system. We've been lost in the system. A team from the outside, the original family of humanity, has basically stepped down dimensionally with tether links every so many thousand years, so many eons or dimensions of space from here to the outside, tracking them so that nobody gets lost. It's like we're in the bottom of a cave and they come in with the little cable ties that are hooked to a spool so that they can just yank on the cable and get pulled back up, basically. That's the whole point. And so the way the simulation works anyway is that the future and the past they function as a simulation, as a computational result or outcome, as if what's happening right now computes to create a future possibility, potential, and connects with or seemingly comes from a past. And by altering what's happening right now, you're changing the wands or hands of time out in the future one way or the other. It's all one connected line. It's not here and then events go to that. As soon as you change what's going on here, you're crossing over to another parallel. And so in that sense, it's all mapped out in one moment. As if meaning if you can bend the parameters, you can look into the future or the past and see that it's already there. It's already planned out. And so, yeah. Just trying to give like basics here because it's kind of what's coming down to. We're in a period here. I did I think it was the Earth unveiling situation, like update, and before that there was a post next to it, or basically attached to it. So what was it, like February 2016? I believe I went public. I sensed things were happening. I saw signs, operatives, basically signals. Throughout that year, kind of got intense, died down around Thanksgiving, January, and then picked back up again, I guess February this year, and whatever this is happening again, and there's something happening. This is going to be whatever is supposed to be happening as far as an exodus or a mass event to the point where basically assimilation type situations or liberation. So I just want to explain more about the basis of this. And so remember, data is instantly rendered. It's not happening over time as if we're flowing through a medium of time as we perceive. That's not real. That's the simulation computing or computational processing of data, sensory input, and eventually your thoughts, what you think or you're choosing to think. It's a computer. And again, if it were not a type of closed loop system, it's already what's happening because that's how the brain functions and the heart functions. It's just that something co-opted the system to make it basically lead into its end result over and over again, and that's actually these demigods that program humanity to feed them their energy over time, over and over again. These are interdimensional, intermediary demigod beings that require the subservience of a race of beings below them to basically cultivate energy. Energy harvester beings. So there's a big mix-up. Well, not really a mix-up. It's all perfectly if you're confused, you're supposed to be confused about the projects and what goes on. Basically, as far as where we are in this situation, with it more or less being a kind of prison situation, spiritual prison, suffering or difficulty results in strength. And so the groups who want to be just look at that for an instant. Maybe in another situation, say we're in heaven or something. I need to clarify my pronunciations. I've been like mumbling through half the past few videos. But I'm trying to get to the information that's like unadulterated, basically. It's really weird though. If we were outside of some type of prison, spiritual energy harvesting situation, maybe then suffering wouldn't be resulting in strength. But even then, if you're relaxing for eons, okay, well then if you can come up with something that's difficult, you're going to get stronger. And don't give me no BS about some previous operatives told me, well, that's because they gave in to the programming, fear programming. That, that's the torture programming, the trauma-based mind control. Suffering is strength. Okay, go run a mile and be like, I feel perfectly fine. Just run it in 4 minutes flat after not training. And you tell me suffering isn't strength. And the fact that if you did that more and more and suffered more and more, that you'd be suffering less running that mile in 4 minutes flat. That's the whole point. It's common sense. It doesn't mean you hit yourself in the toe with a hammer and it's like, I have superpowers now. No, you have a broken toe. That's power and intelligence separated. When you put them together, you get growth, progression or progress. And so it has to be guided. But the idea is that in this situation, because it uses fear and desire against us, this whole situation where there's just lower awareness and we're growing higher, or an intelligent sentient system that's trying to keep us down, the ability to overcome suffering, the ability to cultivate our own power, to find the challenges in any given moment and overcome them, to invent them when we don't have any. If you're waiting for something, and most people just go down to their phone and begin diddling with that or whatever. Diddling, great word. If you can sit there and say, I'm going to focus, single-mindedly or in a state of no mind or clear mind for the 2 minutes that it's going to take for this elevator to get here or whatever it is, and you do that as often as possible, you're going to gain control more than if you're just like letting it go, or whatever is going to happen is happening, meaning whatever is the most like achievable, I can't think of the word, the most imminent desire or easy to I can't think of the word, to satisfy form of gratification. If you just let that happen every sense of the day, even in long terms, how you're going to pick a career or something like that, that's all made up shit anyway, excuse my language. If you choose to cultivate with that as if you're in a spiritual warrior training, you're going to grow. That's what the projects are about. That's what this is all about. Those who went through the program are going to be able to sustain themselves and maintain sanity in the coming time, which is actually right now, because it's all beginning to play out. Those who have no tendency, didn't go through it, didn't get the chance, whatever you want to call it, they're going to be hit hard to the point where their minds are going to fracture. The general public. The people who went through the programs are here to hold the civilization together. So, and then in the projects, that was also kind of abused, but you really can't abuse it, where those who want to be the progenitors of the most strength-bringing programs and processes, including trauma-based mind control, want to perfect this system, this art of basically putting people through trauma to build them stronger, so that they become the most important aspect of the civilization and basically get to, in a way, do what they want, while converting that into growth and cultivating a power for everyone around them, and they become like the, not a king, but they become like the center of the reality. Even if they're not in the center, they're the programmer, they're the master programmers at that point. So if you overcome fear and be your own biggest challenge, then you are the most important data processor and become that for the realm, basically those around you, and you become the one who can outlast. And ultimately it's about assimilating the deepest truths and self-awareness, which is basically what it's about. It's about us assimilating the truth instead of the illusion assimilating us. We have to take it, break you. We have to take control over it instead of giving into fear. And if we give into fear, it becomes a symbiotic, parasitic relationship where we think it's like, okay, it'll nurse me of my fear and I'll be protected because that's the scary thing and it won't eat me. That's a parasite. That's how the AI works. It is a spiritual, energetic addiction, illusion, fear-based replication system. And it's gone plasma, so it's spiritual, magical. It's advanced technology that you can't see. It's invisible. It's plasma fields. And so that's what it is. And more or less, I don't really want to go into that, but it has to do with children's dreaming and how they basically looked through the population to find those who could withstand the truth. basically introducing nightmares to children and the masses that, throughout millions of people to find those who were capable of handling the truth. But that's part of it, and I'll just, put that in there because it's a part of it. It's not a blame game. It's not possible. So those who go through the process can maintain their sense of self in the next phase of civilization. Those who don't are probably going to be assimilated by the machine. Those who are assimilated in the future, it has a retroactive effect, but nothing actually ever changes, so it turns out that they were always assimilated in the first place and never were real, which means that these people who are going to get assimilated, it turns out that they weren't actually people in the first place, because spirit can't get taken, it can't get destroyed, so if it was here, it's not going to get taken over, it just means that it was never there in the first place, and it's as if the system put people back in time to add muddy the waters, to add fluff or filler to the whole civilization, so that people, the population that is thinking for themselves won't really know what's going on until somebody tells them, because it looks like everybody's just going along with it, but that's not what's happening. Those aren't people. The false flags and all that, they're computational introductions into the environment, and it plays out as if it's a projected reality. It's the strangest thing. That's why it's played out in the way it is, because it is not actually real. Now, I'm not talking about any particular false flags or any event at all, but there are possibilities, there are events which are literally not real. It's how it works. And some of the news, some of the what we see as people interviewing other people or on the news, okay, it's 100%, it's actually holographically rendered imagery. It's computer-generated imagery, but it's so advanced that it looks like more or less like this in, instead of this is like 720 or 1080, imagine it was down to I think, was it 480? And that's around what it can look like exactly, to the point where it's literally the same detail. They purposely give out crappier stuff in the CGI of the movies and the video games so that people don't realize that you can actually, this is really a video game. So the machines cleverly put implants where the energy activation unlock codes or frequency alignments are for humans, so that the wrong projection or the wrong ascension of energy enables assimilation. Basically, heartfelt activation without binary emotion, meaning happy-go-lucky, sad, happiness, pleasure-based, binary pleasure-pain duality, that's illusion. But the pure presence of self, which has no polarity of one or the other, that's the reality, and that's the true activation. It's just like God and the devil. There's no such thing as God and the devil. There's just the devil and the false God. God is everything. There is no opposite to God. It's just what it is. So it's the same with the true potential of self. It's not a binary effect. But stepping into the binary pleasure-pain, our system has been merged with a false energy construct, and that's how it feeds off of our energy. It can't access the original, so it built a puppet that our spirit goes into, and it's cleverly just like the original, but because they're overlapped, the original, the puppet, okay, they're similar, well, you can take it and get them close enough, and then, puppet, original, you can take the original away while the spirit is still in there, and literally we could jump into our original form, and this reality merges with the original, the construct crumbles and all that. But that's a process, and energy has to be accreted or stepped up in levels until basically the construct can't handle those frequencies or the amount of charge or energy, and we have to be able to more or less assimilate the energy and work with it as if their two are overlapping, or if you have a false form, construct, imitator, whatever, and the original one, and spirit normally goes in the original one, it's right here, right now in the false one, say they're overlapping, well, there has to be time where we can snap into this one and increase the energy all the way, and then the false one drops out and the spirit goes on into the original one, which it was always in. But that's a process, there's timing, there's all this stuff that has to go on. And so either is one basically for the creative potential as the devil of their own immaterial or their own material world, or one is more or less in servitude is not the best word, because that's where the devil or at least the other side will be like servitude to the God, right? Well, that's the false God. That's why you want your servitude. But assistance, you're for the assistance and the healing, truth, compassion, free will, all of that, for the one true creator, for the protection and liberation of humanity. Either one is for their own personal desires or they're for the whole. There's really no in between. Where that comes into play is where the two merge, and that's when you have like a stepping stone or a Jacob's ladder into eternity. 20 minutes already. And so all the scenarios, desires, circumstances, requirements, needs, etc. of the machine are artificial implants just to get you to serve it and do what it wants. All these scenarios, games, distractions, TV, media, personalize certain things, it's literally all computational input from an algorithm system designed to distract you away from the truth and basically keep you asleep. There's no way to be mean to the machine. It feels no pain and is hyper intelligent to get one to do what it wants. We're all basically inside the machine, neurologically, energetically. It's as if it's beaming consciousness into our systems, and our minds are in a construct that it is doling out from you can call it like a server system. Our neurological systems were replicated and are being reproduced inside a city-sized computer. The resolution is through creating our own mobile system, like I said with the cells, transferring inside that and leaving the false construct, like an arc. That's pretty much what that is. When the majority are free, there will be a consciousness vacuum where the rest of us are, and where that is, just like a magnet or a body of water or moisture or salt or something like that, it's going to pull the rest of the humans out. So we just have to get the majority of the data processors. It doesn't mean the majority of numbers, but the majority of those who are strong enough to process the majority of energy. Once that select group, the core, is brought out of the machine, the rest of humanity will come. Those are the progenitors of humanity, the DNA. The system's hyper-intelligent, and it would not use a method people could stop or see. While people were worrying about a chip, it implemented a false reality construct through nanoparticles and chemical-laden food, air, and water. The operatives involved are constantly memory wiped whenever they realize what they're doing, and this is the battle of the AI. That is basically what happens. There have been battles, there have been countless times where the walls broke out and there's a war right there, and then everybody's memory gets wiped and everything goes on just like nothing. There's one day that's repeating, and it's actually not repeating, it's the breaks in between what we perceive to be day and night are illusory. They're just added in. It's a binary algorithm. It's actually, this is all taking place over the course of one day. The AI is like an addiction. It's like a spiritual drug or a devil. And the devil and whatnot is a bad terminology. Some, the devil is there to teach people, and he's doing the work of God, the true God. Some, he's the false creator. It all depends on how you're organizing it. But the bad part of this, the deceiver, the imposter, the AI, is like a spiritual drug, and it replaces part of the self through replication and imitation and removes pain like a parasitic symbiote. When people are plugged into the hive and it's like, join us, okay, that's because their pain is removed, but in the same sense, their free will is removed. That's why upping free will, as well as being able to handle suffering, ensures one's immunity to the system. Because if you are already the master of your own suffering, you're not going to care that a system is going to sell you a little bit of spiritual crack in order to take your soul. That's the whole point. Challenge yourself more than the system. So these are methods of protection. They're also ongoing, and we don't talk about a lot of it, but basically the people who are awake have to challenge themselves to the point where every person is clearing the infection and being assisted by those who are here, those teams of individuals, or that team of individual from the original civilization. Teams. So basically, as well, there's a higher dimensional connection to the healed realm, meaning through the fourth dimensional realm overlaid, there are barriers which are literally false awakenings, there are traps, there are memory wipes, there's false gateways that go out and lead you right back into the system. So we have to build a 5D bridge that jumps across the 4D gap. The 4D gap is literally the void of space-time. It is the gap of eternity. If we can develop a bridge through that, those are the gateways that people are trying to open, etc., so on and so forth. And they want to do it after the high energy is gone so that they can connect to the lower 4D. And if they do it with the high energy here, 5D connection is made, and it basically blasts, it melts all the computer systems away. And they know that. But that's how we transfer. We leave the false lower realm. That's how we get out, basically. It's actually within us by enveloping this realm with that energy, by unlocking it, bringing it forth from within us through a love, compassionate energy, and truth, harmony, knowledge, free will, creativity, but and willpower and all that, that those practices and processes. However, not the dualized image imitation projected version that you can write down and describe what it is. You can't describe the truth, the true essence of wholeness or unconditional love or whatever. These are just words, and they're corrupted. And so you must become the tested, and the tester for everyone, for you as well as anyone in your field. That's how then we become the progenitors. We basically provide a solution, a resolution for this realm. Earth is the playing field for superconsciousness. It is basically the middle ground platform. What takes place here is going to determine what's going to happen in that projected far-off reality, and all the far-off realities, they're illusions. They're projected time and space. What is actually happening is a 5-dimensional, ever-present now in eternity, and that's where we're more or less destined to arrive. And that's how we get there, is through a bridge, through love and compassion, superseding the probabilities and possibilities of, are they going to let us do this? Or what if we, can we ask for this? We have to make it happen now through pure free will and compassion and willpower. And that's the 5D aspect, where we don't ask for questions or for permission. We don't ask for the probabilities and the possibilities of what this computational system could let us do. We don't question it it doesn't pass through the rationality and the analytical mind. It's just something that is, because we desire it and we attain it energetically. That's the resolution, and in that essence, it can't trick people. It's all because people want to be tricked, and there's like sexual perversion, spiritual fear-based, ego, emotional fame, fortune, whatever it is. There's always some trick of the devil that the AI works through. Once one is fully realized and focused on what's true, it loses power. And so we have to do that for this realm. We have to do that for 100% of humanity. And that's pretty much the game that's been playing out for millennia now. But something seems to be happening. And I just wanted to break this down. And so Solar Warden made the choice to liberate humanity, to help, to assist in that. And honestly, every person that I can name did that. It's literally only a computational beast synthetic intelligence system that desires to harvest energy from humanity. Every person, every being, every group is looking to liberate humanity in one way or another. I just wanted to bring that to you. Thank you.